What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Islam Makhachev is scared of Charles Oliveira. Although Dana White indicated after Islam Makhachev's win over Alexander Volkanovski that former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira was next up for a crack at the title, given that an injury forced him out of the UFC 294 rematch, Oliveira will first have to get through streaking contender Arman Tsarukyan. The way Oliveira's coach, Diego Lima, sees things, Makhachev is making it clear that he doesn't want to fight Oliveira again. With talk of a fight with Justin Gaethje rather than a rematch with Oliveira or Tsarukyan, and even talk of a move to welterweight after the UFC 296 main event, Lima thinks Makhachev is making his stance clear. He spoke in an interview with MMA Fighting. Makhachev is great. He's the champion for a reason. The guy is really good and has all the merits, but I think it's clear that he doesn't want to fight Charles again. He wants out of this fight any way possible. It's more than clear, not taking anything away from him. Let's be real clear here, but I think for all he's doing, I'd rather fight this guy or that guy. I'll move up a division. Honestly, I don't think none of that will happen. I think the winner of this fight will fight Makhachev. There's nothing else. There's nowhere to run. Of course, Makhachev recently shared his plan for 2024 and the start of 2025 on social media, indicating that he would like to fight Justin Gaethje next before then setting his sights on the winner of the Oliveira-Tsarukyan fight later this year. Next up, let's take a look at Jon Jones has to fight Tom Aspenall for his legacy. Although many members of the MMA community have continued to push back on the bout, Dana White and Jon Jones have made it clear that they believe a fight between he and Stipe Miocic needs to happen for the sake of both fighters' legacies. The way Tom Aspenall and many members of the MMA community sees things, a win over Miocic at this stage of the former champ's career won't do nearly as much for Jon's legacy as a win over him would. During a recent video for his YouTube channel, Hall of Famer Michael Bisping weighed in.
People say that he avoided Francis Ngannou. I'm not saying that, but that's a narrative that exists. If he doesn't fight Tom Aspenall, if he beats Stipe, that will forever be the narrative. Okay, that will forever be the narrative that he's ducking Tom Aspenall, that he's afraid of Tom Aspenall. So how on earth can Jon Jones retire when there's another active, defending heavyweight champion? You just can't do that. That is madness. And it will affect his legacy and tarnish his accomplishments forever.
Although Jones has played coy in regards to whether or not the upcoming fight with Stipe Miocic will be his last, there appears to be a very real possibility that the champ walks away after the bout. In that case, assuming Jones walks away on top, Aspinall would be promoted to undisputed champion, officially ushering in a new era for the division. Next up, let's take a look at Chito Vera reacts to Sean O'Malley pay-per-view buys. With an impressive highlight reel built through his early UFC fights, by the time Sean O'Malley entered his UFC 292 pay-per-view clash with Aljamain Sterling, Dana White already viewed him as a pay-per-view star. Despite that, Sterling recently indicated that when he saw the buys for the card, he was left stunned. As he explained in a video for his YouTube channel, had he known O'Malley wouldn't make the event a massive success, he would have waited to heal up before fighting. While some fans criticized the former champ for putting the onus on O'Malley, he fired back, explaining that he never claimed to be a pay-per-view draw. During a recent interview with the Schmo, Chito Vera reacted to the situation, indicating that he believes Sterling should have done what was best for him.
That's what happens when you rush. And I mean, if you're not patient and if you don't take your time and if you just do it for the dollars, you won't get it. You won't get too far and you won't get them. I mean, if you chase the money like that, it keeps going away from you. And I mean, we should have waited. I mean, when you're the champion, you can say "fuck you," do an interim bill. I don't give a f. But he don't think like that. I mean, he kind of like thought he was becoming rich out of a TikTok following. You don't work like that in this world.
When O'Malley and Vera collide at UFC 299, it'll be interesting to see how the event performs on pay-per-view, following O'Malley's show-stopping performance in his last fight, and the bad blood between he and Vera. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at UFC Fight Updates. With the year now in full swing, let's take a look at some UFC Fight Updates for the months to come, starting with a new opponent for former flyweight champion Brandon Moreno at UFC Fight Night Mexico on February 24th. According to reports, Amir Albazi has been forced out of his scheduled scrap with Moreno, with Brandon Royval now stepping in on short notice after his recent loss to Alexander Pantoja. The pair notably competed at UFC 255 back in 2020, with Moreno picking up a first-round TKO victory. The following month, Amanda Ribas and Rose Namajunas will collide at UFC Vegas 88 on March 23rd at 125 pounds. The bout will see Namajunas look to bounce back from a loss to Manon Fior back in September, which saw the former champ suffer a loss in her flyweight debut. On the flip side, Ribas will be looking to build momentum on a November win over Luana Pinheiro. Shifting gears and looking at the lightweight division, we have a fight between Ignacio Bahamondes and Christos Giagos, added to the UFC Fight Night Vettori vs. Allen card on April 6th. The bout will see Bahamondes look to bounce back after having a 3-fight winning streak snapped by Ludovic Klein, while on the flip side, Giagos will be looking to bounce back from a loss to Daniel Zellber back in September. Last but certainly not least in the way of UFC fight updates, reports have indicated that the Iron Lady, former women's featherweight champion, Germaine de Randamie, will be making her return to the octagon to fight Norma Dumont at the previously mentioned Vettori vs. Allen card on April 6th. The bout will see de Randamie look to return after 3 years away from the sport, during which time she gave birth to a son. On the flip side, Dumont will be looking to build momentum on a 3-fight win streak that most recently saw her defeat Chelsea Chandler back in July. With UFC 297 next weekend, more UFC fight updates are sure to be right around the corner. Next, let's take a look at Joe Rogan reveals shocking news. Since signing with the UFC, Joe Pyfer has rattled off 3 straight finishes, most recently submitting Abdul Razak Al Hassan back in October. With the win, Pyfer was able to position himself for a fight with number 10 ranked middleweight Jack Hermansson in February, where he'll look to build momentum on his recent run. According to Joe Rogan and Sean Brady, who spoke on a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Pyfer even broke Francis Ngannou's punch machine record several times in a row. However, as Brady indicated, the owner of the machine said there was something wrong with it and didn't want to award him with the record.
That mother it's so hard. We should tell everybody that he broke Francis Ngannou's record on that punch machine.
And they weren't trying to give it to him or something like that.
Yeah,
the
they
guy,
didn't want to register it, which is,
yeah.
I don't understand why.
I've trained and
why
been
didn't they want to give it to him?
I don't know. The guy was saying like something was weird with the machine, and Joe was like, he did it like 3 times. Like 3 times in a row.
Oh, so the guy didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, he didn't believe that it was real. Like how hard Joey was hitting it.
Should Pyfer manage to pick up yet another win while also handing Jack Hermansson his 2nd straight loss, he would likely make quite the splash on the middleweight rankings. Next, let's take a look at MMA Community ROASTS UFC manager for comment. By now, it's no secret that Ali Abdelaziz uses the social media accounts of the fighters he manages in order to respond to posts and drum up attention. Back in 2021, Kamaru Usman, who's managed by Abdelaziz, posted a meme of the Dominance MMA head using a number of phones, while urging Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje to get their passwords back from Abdelaziz. From the sounds of things, Islam Makhachev didn't get the memo. This week, in response to a post made by MMA Fighting, which quoted Charles Oliveira's coach Diego Lima, Abdelaziz responded with a comment many believe he meant to post from Islam Makhachev's account, writing, "He's probably gonna lose to Arman, and still I'm not gonna have to run." Members of the MMA community didn't hesitate to crack jokes at Abdelaziz's expense, with one writing, "Bro forgot to switch to Islam's account," while another added, "We all knew you run fighters' accounts, but this is still so embarrassing." Another pointedly responded to Abdelaziz himself, writing, "You forgot to switch to Islam's account." One member of the MMA community had a different theory, writing, "I'm starting to think you purposely tweeted from the wrong account for more engagement. If I'm wrong, then you're just stupid for doing it this many times, lol." So far, no response yet from Abdelaziz, and despite the jokes from fans, the manager has yet to delete the tweet as well. Next, let's take a look at Manel Cop breaks silence on horrible news. Manel Cop's upcoming fight with Mateus Nicolau, which was scheduled to take place on this weekend's Ankalaev vs. Walker 2 card, was called off on Friday, leaving the card down a fight. MMA Fighting's Damon Martin broke the news, simply writing, "Manel Cop vs. Mateus Nicolau is off. UFC officials confirmed the fight has been scrapped from UFC Vegas 84. As MMA Junkie's Mike Bond pointed out, Cop has had 8 canceled fights since signing with the UFC, with only 6 actual fights taking place. Ariel Helwani was quick to react, writing, "Manel Cop's UFC career continues to be a wild roller coaster ride of extreme highs and lows." While details about the cancellation weren't immediately made available, Cop himself shed light on the situation with a post on social media, where he explained that after being unable to make weight, his opponent didn't want to accept a catchweight bout. He wrote in part, "2 weeks ago, I was extremely sick due to a virus that happened here in Las Vegas. I had to stay out of training for 5 days and filling myself with antibiotics. My coaches and manager thought it was better for me to cancel the fight due to the state I was in, but I decided to move on and not cancel. My opponent didn't accept the fight or accept my purse. While it's unclear how the UFC plans to handle the situation, many fans are hopeful that the fight will be pushed back a week to the UFC 297 card. Sean O'Malley reveals horrible news after insinuating that Corey Sandhagen is suing him. In a recent interview, he was asked if he would ever fight Corey, and O'Malley replied saying that he would be interested, but there's legal stuff going on between the two. When the interviewer asked for more details, Sean waved him off and didn't want to speak about it.
What do you think about Corey as a potential challenger, and what would it take for him to earn a title shot in your eyes?
Yeah, there's legal stuff that I can't talk about, but yeah, Corey, me and Corey are going to fight someday, 100%. I don't know if it's going to be next. I don't know if it's going to be this year. I don't know if it's going to be next year. I think Corey's a good dude too. I like Corey, but yeah, that fight will happen someday.
Sorry, I won't ask you for details, but you said legal stuff, like involving Corey, or just... Okay, sorry, I just didn't understand the context there.
Khabib Nurmagomedov could possibly be returning for a fight at UFC 300. Here's what Javier had to say.
I'm just letting you guys know that, stop all this nonsense regarding Khabib coming back and me and him training. There's been no such thing happening. We're not discussing training. We never have. Khabib is still devoted to what he said. He's devoting his time to his family. He's not working people's corners. He's not going to ever fight. To my knowledge, it's never been spoken about. And to my knowledge, he's been here the last few days. He just left yesterday from Dubai. And nothing has ever been discussed about fighting. No training, no nothing. We trained together, actually, but we're doing cardio. We weren't doing any kind of kickboxing, any kind of MMA training whatsoever. So stop the clickbait.
Top comments. Michael, I'm here for a good time, not a long time unless that includes waiting 2 years for Conor to maybe come back. Chandler, it seems lately the UFC are giving ex-champions a direct route back to the belt. They should make them earn it just like any other challenger. Drakus has literally had one good performance. He almost got KO'd by Darren Till the fight before that. I think Sean dominates him. Still waiting to see who, if Alex Pereira and Tom Aspinall will be fighting in 300. Someone needs to save this card. I thought it's been pretty clear Dana has been on coke or tweaking for a while. He licks and presses his lips during press conferences. It was a dead giveaway. Been around too many speed hits to not notice that. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.